All right, last night, if you missed it, I was burning the midnight oil to get out an Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic trade video. It was my immediate reaction. There was a lot of takes in there that, were fair from me. But it's the day after now. I've gotten poor sleep and I've gotten some ibuprofen in me to get rid of that, to null the effects of that poor sleep that I got. So, what I want to do today is I want to look back at it, and I think I want to play some devil's advocate for Nico Harrison. If you don't know, Nico Harrison is the GM of the Mavericks. I'm playing devil's advocate for him a little bit. I don't hate this team as much as I did last night. I'm not going to sit here and say that this team's a championship winner. This team might not even make a finals like they did last year. I don't hate this team as much as I thought I would, to be honest. My one worry with the Dallas Mavericks now, though, is that without Luka Doncic, you're relying on Kyrie Irving to be a full-time playmaker because you really don't have an assist guy in the starting lineup. As much as I like PJ Washington, I don't even know if he's a starter anymore. But also, Luka Doncic was like a high assist-to-turnover ratio guy. He gets you 11 assists on 2 turnovers. Kyrie Irving may not be like that, but that's my biggest concern, is just the playmaking aspect of it, and how can you get AD the ball when you don't have a guy who can pass really well. However, they added versatility, and I think I like that the most maybe with this AD move. Because now you have the ability to play like 5 different types of basketball. You can go you can still go quote unquote small and do your PJ at the 5 lineup. That still works. You still have the capabilities to do that. You can run a lineup of Kyrie, Dinwiddie, Clay, and then you could put Najee and then PJ. You could still go small, or obviously you want AD out there. So you can run the big ball lineup, which I think is going to be their starting lineup the more I think about it. It would make more sense for it to be like Kyrie, Clay, Najee Marshall, and then you can go with AD Gafford or AD Lively when he's back if they want to start Lively over Gafford. Depends on how that goes. But also they have the ability to now put AD at the 5. I know he doesn't want to play the 5. I'm not saying he has to, but there's lineups where he can definitely play the 5 without much of an issue, to be honest. You could easily run a lineup out there with like Kyrie, Dinwiddie, Clay, PJ, AD, or you could go out there and you can run the double big lineup like we were talking about before. You can mix and match that all different types of ways. You can run PJ at the 3 if you really believe in it. Now, also to play a little bit of defense for Nico Harrison, I will say that they were worried about Luka Doncic's conditioning issues. A report came out from, let me see if I can find the reporter's name because I don't want to be disrespectful. Don Harris, a San Antonio-based reporter, came out basically with a tweet. I'm not sure if it's true or not. I really don't know. ESPN is saying it's true. That's what Legion Hoops tweeted as well. So maybe we do have to believe this is true. But there's thoughts that Luka Doncic currently weighs 270. That's a lot. That's not point guard weight. All right? I don't know. The Patriots need a new guard. I don't know. 270 would be ridiculous. I don't know if it's true or not. ESPN's reporting it as if it's true. So I guess it is? I'm not really sure. And if he does weigh 270, maybe the Mavericks were right in getting rid of him. Because if his extension's looming and he's coming off an injury and he ballooned in weight, there's definitely reason for concern there. If you wanted to keep track, Frank the Tank at Barstool, the Mets fan, one of my favorite individuals on the internet, is only about 40 pounds from Luka now. Come on now. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how real that is, but Tim McMahon reported it. And Don Harris reported it, and now ESPN's running with it and saying it's true. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure. But I have to see a picture of it because, listen, pretty difficult to play devil's advocate for Mr. Nico Harrison. I guess the max extension looming, it probably would have made him the highest paid player in NBA history. But if anybody's going to get paid the most money in NBA history, it probably should be Luka Doncic. Wouldn't you agree with me? Right? There's so many. It's easier to critique this trade than play devil's advocate. I'm trying my best over here. I explained that I like the lineup versatility that they now have with AD. You can move him at the 4. You can play him at the 5 in some lineups. It's fun. But I've also displayed that there's a very good amount of concern for this team, and especially long term. You're worried about how AD is going to age, and then on top of that, you're paying him like $60 million. At the age of 33, 34, and 35. That's a lot of money. It's a lot. That's what I mean. It's way easier to critique this trade for the Mavericks than it is to give them props. I'm trying my best. If I wanted to critique this trade, I would say something along the lines of like, this is an off-season move. This is very rushed. You could have probably played this out for a full off-season and gotten a king's ransom. But I think that they didn't want to punt the season. And I guess if they knew that they were going to trade him at the end of the season, they didn't want to punt this season altogether. But I don't know. I think we're at the point where I think I'd just rather punt the season and then try and move him in the offseason. I mean, this is just a beyond ridiculous move that I just never thought would happen. Like, this is something that they could have got a king's ransom for, and not like De'Aaron Fox king's ransom. Ha ha ha, funny joke, right? Yeah, I'm running on 4 hours of sleep. Laugh. This isn't a king's ransom. They didn't get 5 first-round picks. They didn't get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and 5 picks like the Thunder got. Hell, they didn't even get, like, I don't know. They didn't get a lot of return. But like I said, I do still like the Mavericks. I think they're a better team right now than the Lakers are right now. Obviously, for the Lakers, you win because long-term you've won. You've secured a guy who, I'm sorry, with LeBron James, LeBron's going to stay on his ass. I think so. I think LeBron knows, like, this is my meal ticket. You know what I mean? This is the guy who can get us over the top. AD, while he's great, AD cannot run a game like Luka Doncic can. I know he had that 40-20 at Charlotte, but you saw that it came down to heroics in the end because although he dropped 40 and 20, the Lakers team still wasn't good enough. And on top of that, AD's great at what he does, but Luka Doncic is just a different level. He controls your offense, like every aspect of it. And he's basically, and now Luka gets to play with the original Luka, I guess, in LeBron. You could call him the original Luka, that's fair. But they're all original Magic. They're both kind of Magic. They both score more than Magic. I don't know. This is a hard comparison to draw. I guess the conditioning issues must be serious. My other thought is that there's got to be something underlying, maybe an injury or something that they haven't disclosed yet. I guess, I don't know. The biggest props I can give is Anthony Davis for waiving his trade kicker, which means big guy gets like $500K just to move to Dallas. You get $500K to move to Dallas. Don't sound too bad to me. You get paid $500K to go play, $500K, not $500K. $500K to go play with Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson. It's a fun little team. I definitely don't hate the Mavericks as much as I dislike the Lakers lineup. But obviously the reason why we're all shocked is because of the finals trip that happened less than a year ago. Like less than a calendar year ago, they were in an NBA Finals. Less than a calendar year ago, they beat Minnesota. Who else did they beat? Phoenix? No, they didn't beat Phoenix. Minnesota beat Phoenix. I forget who else they beat. But not too long ago, this team was like a real deal contender with Luka Doncic, and then he gets hurt this year. And I saw some Mavericks fans like, yo, we're better without him anyways. And I'm like, no, that's cope. That's cope. I'm sorry, Mavericks fans. There's no way where you genuinely thought the team without Luka and no AD. I'm just saying when Luka was missing time. There's no way that you thought that team had a chance without Luka. All right, that was never the plan. In my opinion, I thought for the Lakers, it would have been the easy way for them to just get a center and try and run it with AD and LeBron, but they've been adamant recently, it seems, that they never thought that they were really competitors, or they didn't think that there was a road that they could take to get to being competitors. And maybe, again, that's something I don't know, because a center literally was the difference between them and finals in 2020. Rondo was there, but like you have a bunch of guys. This team offensively with AD at the if you could get AD a 5-man, that team would have been an actual contender in my mind. But I guess they thought that they never wanted to do that. They never wanted to trade the picks. I saw trade ideas floating with Connect. They were never going to do that. And then of course you have like AD still talking about, let's just get me a center to play next to me. Rob Pelinka just thought it'd be better to think about years down the line. And I guess hiring J.J. Redick was the predecessor to that, the precursor, whatever you want to say, because that was their long-term plan when they hired J.J., is that he'd be there for the foreseeable future. It's the reason why they wanted Dan Hurley as well. They wanted a guy who was going to be around for a while. And now that they have a guy that they think is going to be around for a while in J.J. Redick, he's had an all right year coaching. Nothing too crazy. They're a fine team at best. with what they were before this, but you got your long-term coach, and now you have your long-term solution for the post-LeBron era. My issue, again, with the Lakers team falls back on the idea of, like, this team is going to suck, probably. Luka's still out, so I don't know when he's coming back. But you look at their starting five, you see Luka, Reeves, Rui, Braun, Jackson Hayes. That's nasty, bro. I'm sorry. Opposing backcourts are going to be looking at that Luka, Reeves, 1-2, licking lips. Or licking their fingers, licking their lips, licking their chops. They're looking at them like food. And I don't, you know what I mean? That's a situation where AD would have been helpful, but AD's gone. You have to make room for Luka somehow. And then Nico Harrison comes out and saying defense wins championships, and this move makes us a better defensive team. He's right. He's 100% right. Y'all cannot take that away from him. Luka is definitely not the strongest defender in the league. It never has been. Never really will be, in my opinion. I love LeBron James, but I don't think he could coach Luka into being a good defender, right? But, again, my issue with this whole thing is that you've taken away another playmaker. You've taken away kind of the any type of, like, momentum they had, any feelings of positivity that they had. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there was so much hype behind this team. Adding Klay Thompson was supposed to be like the final infinity stone, because you had guys in the finals last year like Derrick Jones Jr. who just weren't making shots. Last season, the game plan for the Celtics was push their shooters off the corners and we'll win the series. And they did. PJ and DJJ could not make shots from the wings. So you added Klay Thompson. The thought was, all right, that's a guy who can shoot from anywhere. That's a guy who can literally shoot from anywhere. And so that's the missing piece. And they look good when they had the three of them. The issue is they just haven't had the three of them this year. And then when they do get some healthy, there goes Lively. He's out, So they haven't ever had their core together that they wanted. And this just felt like a move that didn't need to truly happen, because you never really got to see what this core could be at its peak when they were together. Give them 30 games to try it, 20 games. Like I said, this was a move for the offseason, not mid-season. It's way easier to critique the Mavericks. I know. Like I said in my video last night, that it's very rare that you see a trade where a team gets a younger player who is also better at the time. That just never happens. Usually you see something along the lines of a young player getting traded, and you'll see, a bunch of picks and a couple of veterans on either expiring deals or movable contracts, stuff like that. This wasn't that. The Mavericks got one first-round pick, and I think that might be my biggest gripe with this whole deal, is that they got one pick. And I know you're trying to win now, so that one pick is probably going to get moved again. It's the Lakers 2029 or something like that. So it's probably end up getting shipped for somebody else if you want more help. But like I was saying before, they just don't have playmaking. They don't have the ability to find Anthony Davis in the post. You're relying on a lot of Kyrie Irving playmaking. I want to look at his assist numbers this year. I don't think they're overly impressive. I'm not saying Kyrie can't pass, but what I am saying is Kyrie's top ability in his tenure in the NBA has never been a great passer. 5 assists a game to 2.5 turnovers. 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. I don't know, and he's still hurt. On top of that, he's day-to-day. That's great, dude. 42% from the line. My God, Kyrie. He could score with the best of them. But like I said, the issue isn't where the bucket's going to come from. It's an issue of who's going to be the setup guy. I'm trying to rationalize it. I'm looking at turnovers per game right now. Obviously, you can't factor in what AD is going to do to their turnover rate. But right now, Dallas is 17th in turnovers per game, sitting at a pretty, 14.5 turnovers per game. And that's with Luka. Well, without Luka for the most part, actually. So, I don't know. I think it's just tough because you're going to have to rely on guys like PJ Washington and guys like Quentin Grimes, maybe, Spencer Dinwiddie, to be better playmakers than they truly are. But they are 4th in the league in block shots. So that's going to go up, if I had to assume, like way up. And I like the idea of them running big ball because big ball has shown to work at times. You have run 2 big lineups that have worked. Last year, Cat and Gobert worked pretty well. You obviously saw it in the finals a few years ago with Horford and Robert Williams with the Celtics. That worked really well. And then the idea of like Mobley, Allen down low for the Cavs has seemed to work out well with two guys on the perimeter who aren't great defenders. But also the thing is I don't know. It's kind of like Cleveland, I guess, in a sense. While Evan Mobley isn't the player, it's not 1-to-1, obviously, but I'd still think like Jared Allen is better than Daniel Gafford, but Anthony Davis is better than Evan Mobley. But the thing is that they have Garland Mitchell backcourt versus what's going to be Kyrie Irving and Spencer Dinwiddie, or Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson. So I don't know how to feel about that. I'm still looking at team stats. They are about middle of the pack in like damn near everything, it seems. I'm not even sure. 3-point percentage, they are a top 10 team. They're 10th in 3-point percentage. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. In terms of attempts, though, they're bottom 6. They're 24th in attempts per game, 3-point attempts per game. That number's probably, it might stay the same, honestly. While Luka hasn't really been around a ton to influence the stats, so I don't know. What are they weak on? I gotta find something. Is it defense? Are they a bad defensive team? What's defensive rating looking like? Not a bad defense. They're 12th, middle of the pack. So adding Anthony Davis should probably shoot them into the top 10, in my opinion. Like, I think they're definitely a better defensive team now than they were yesterday. You added Christie, who's a plus defender as well, on top of AD, who's always a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. So you have this idea of big ball, which is going to get you a ton of blocks, and it's going to help you down low in the paint, fight some battles down there. But, like I said, what you sacrificed was your playmaking and your perimeter shot creation. And while I really do like Kyrie Irving, he's damn near going to be doubled on the perimeter now. Just because it's daring other people to take someone off the dribble. I'm going to let PJ Washington take me off the dribble. I know he's been good at it, but at the same time, I'm not really scared of that. He's going to have to win 4 games in the playoffs taking me off the dribble because Kyrie ain't doing it. I like AD. I think he can get some good looks, and I think this team's going to be good, but I don't know. It just depends on what the big ball strategy is going to look like for them. Chris Haynes just reported that LeBron intends to be a Laker beyond the trade deadline. He has no thoughts of leaving. So, they're set with this team. I wonder what LeBron's feeling right now. I said in that video as well that Luka looked up to LeBron. That's one of his idols. I did confirm that last night. I'm pretty sure there was a quote about it. That's pretty cool. He gets to play with one of his idols. I'm not opposed to it. This is interesting. The Dallas Mavericks are fourth worst in the league in opponent points on second chance points. So they are allowing teams to rebound and get second shot looks. So I mean that's going to be obviously going down because of Anthony Davis, and they are top 10 in opponent fast break points, and then points in the paint. I can't imagine they're low. They are currently sitting at, where are they? 19th in opponent points in the paint. So I don't know, maybe that's what they're thinking is we're too weak inside. You got to add somebody bigger. Maybe. I guess that's kind of the rationale here. But also, I don't know, man. Opponent 3-point percentage, they are currently sitting at middle of the pack, 18th. It's not special. It's not really that good either. Defensively, though, I mean, defensive points per game, they are allowing about, where the hell are they? 16th. And it's an opponent points per game, 16th. So they're middle of the pack defense with a good offense, I'd like to believe. I'm going to go look at offensive rating. We can go to advanced. Offensive rating. The Dallas Mavericks are the 8th best offense. And that's mostly without Luka Doncic, because how many games has he played? 22. He's played 22 games out of the... We've cleared the 40-game mark, I believe. So that would... 22 out of he's played like half the season, I guess. And he's at 28 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. Jesus. His assist per game number was down, so maybe that means that there is somebody else that's going to be coming in and making that playmaking jump. They are currently sitting at, an assist percentage. That means shots made that are assisted on. They are the fourth worst, 27th in the league at 60%. So 60% of their shots are assisted on. So it seems like it's a lot of self-creation. And I guess with AD, that's not going to change. In terms of assist to turnover ratio, the Dallas Mavericks are 19th in the league at 1.73. So they already aren't the best passing team, which I guess they're kind of punting on that altogether now. Because, like I said, you're losing playmaking, getting rid of a guy like Luka Doncic who does that. That's his best attribute, is how good of a passer he is. I don't know. I'm trying to play devil's advocate for Nico Harrison here. If you have any other thoughts or suggestions, you can let me know down in the comments. I'm exhausted. Like I said, about 4 hours of sleep did me not great, but I was too hyped, man. I got that video out last night. I was happy as hell. If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, share, sub. Comment what you guys think about this trade. Comment any other thoughts you guys have, or maybe touch on something that I didn't touch on in this video. Otherwise than that, I got nothing. I'm going to catch you game. See you guys in the next one.